People say Solomon once held powers no mortal should ever touch. Abilities whispered only in the dark corners of ancient temples. Powers that could make spirits bow, bend the thoughts of men before they even became words, and command wind, storm, and shadow with nothing more than a seal carved onto a ring inscribed with a symbol older than every kingdom. They say that ring was not crafted by human hands, but given to him by a presence that stepped out of the flames on a night no scribe dared record. And if that is true, then the question that has haunted generations is simple. Where does such power come from, and what price does it demand? In those long, sleepless nights, when the royal palace sank into silence, and the desert wind slipped through the cracks, carrying the cold breath of emptiness, Solomon finally confessed. He admitted that even though he held in his hands the power so many desired, the ability to understand the language of spirits and see things beyond human sight, his heart remained painfully lonely in a way no crown could ease. The more he knew, the more he feared. And if you are listening to this story now, stay with me, subscribe, and give a gentle like as a way of walking beside me, so we can step together into the hidden world that even Solomon once trembled to enter. In the moment when loneliness nearly drowned my heart, like a silent wave rolling across the desert night, something unimaginable happened before my eyes. A burst of light rose from the darkness, burning like fire, yet refusing to consume. Within that radiance, a figure slowly revealed itself, leaving me overwhelmed and afraid. For no being had ever existed so breathtaking that it stole my breath, yet so majestic that all pride within me shattered into dust. It left behind only the trembling of a small man standing before what lay beyond understanding. The angel did not step closer, but looked straight through me. In that gaze, I felt every secret I had buried peeled away, layer by layer. I heard myself take a step back, like a child before a flame too bright. The angel said, "Solomon, the knowledge you seek is not a gift, but a burden you must carry for life. You will witness what no mortal has seen, but in return, you will endure sleepless nights and a loneliness no crown can soothe. If you, who are listening to this confession, choose to stay, then walk with me. For the path ahead burns darker than that light, yet within it lies the truth generations have longed to reclaim." When the light of the angel finally faded, leaving behind a wavering emptiness between heaven and earth, I understood that forbidden knowledge never arrives without carrying a price heavier than gold or power. Because in that same moment, I felt something inside me crack, the very things I once believed were solid as stone. Within that lingering glow, the angel said, "Solomon, once you touch this stream of knowledge, your life will no longer belong to the simple peace of ordinary men. You will see what mortals should not see, hear whispers that shake the will, and understand secrets that make a heart grow old too soon and lonely for too long. You will no longer know where the line lies between blessing and trial, between the saving light and the shadows of your own soul." I stood there like a man stripped of the right to choose, for knowledge, even when dangerous, holds a pull so strong it makes turning back impossible. And if you are listening to this now, understand that every step we take forward is not only the tale of a king, but the journey of anyone who has traded their peace in exchange for the truth. After hearing that warning, I began to see more clearly the spirits that drift quietly around human life. Like sleepless shadows, lingering at the edge of light, where their breath blends into the night wind. Each spirit carries its own nature. Some are fiery and impatient, waiting only for a spark to burst. Some are so proud they refuse to acknowledge me, hovering in the air as if mocking the fragility of mankind. And some remain so silent that their stillness chills the spine, because it is not peace, but the feeling of a door waiting to open into something darker. I remember the first time I sensed a spirit behind me. It never touched me, yet its presence pressed on my chest like a stone, making me understand that the unseen world not only exists, but watches every step we take. If you are listening, keep your heart steady. For the most mysterious thing is not who they are, but why they have stayed awake for 1,000 years. As I step deeper into the unseen world, I realize that no ritual is more important than purifying one's own heart. Because before touching any spirit or seeking any power, the practitioner must fast so the body can settle, must pray so the mind can return to its original clarity, and must keep the heart clean enough that no selfish thought can slip in. For the greater the knowledge, the easier the darkness within us awakens. Only when we can master ourselves are we strong enough to face what lies beyond human understanding. I remember the first time I knelt alone in a silent room, my sincerity so raw that each breath sounded like drops of water falling through the night. In that moment, I understood that to command the world outside, one must first calm the storm inside. And if you are hearing this, try once to be still, because sometimes purification does not begin with grand rituals, but with the moment we finally face ourselves with honesty. Solomon said that throughout his life, he witnessed many sorcerers seek the pinnacles, not to protect others, but to feed their greed. The moment they treated power as an ornament to display was the moment the light abandoned them, one by one. Some used the seals to manipulate the minds of others, only to be consumed by their own growing suspicion. Some tried to force spirits into obedience, forgetting that anything coerced carries the seed of betrayal. And when darkness rises, it makes no distinction between master and foe. Solomon spoke with a heavy voice, as if recalling a wound, saying that magic itself is never wrong, only the human heart misuses it. The consequences always arrive, slowly but surely, like the cold crawling up a spine at night. He looked directly at me and said, "If the heart is not pure, then even the strongest pentacle becomes a double-edged blade." If you are hearing this, remember one simple truth. Morality is the first and final circle of protection around any power. Solomon said that the 7 planets are not merely distant lights hanging in the night sky, but 7 breaths of the universe, each carrying its own power, quietly shaping the hearts and destinies of humankind. Saturn cold and heavy like sorrow, pressed down through years. Jupiter generous like a father's embracing arms. Mars burning like anger kept too long. Sun radiant like the faith we lose and somehow find again. Moon gentle like the hidden tears someone sheds in silence. Mercury quick and sharp like a thought that flashes just before we give up. And Venus, tender like the first flutter of a heart learning to love. Solomon spoke of how the spirit world also breathes with these planetary rhythms. If a person listens deeply enough, every shift in our inner world mirrors a motion in the heavens. For heaven, earth, and human lives are not separate, but connected by an invisible thread stronger than time. We do not need to master every mystery to feel that resonance. Sometimes, a single quiet moment looking up at the sky is enough to sense the universe speaking to us in its own way. Solomon said that to create a pinnacle, one must first choose a clean piece of metal. Place it before them in the stillness of night, when every sound has fallen silent. Then, use a purified blade to draw the first circle, a closed ring that marks the boundary between human safety and the waiting darkness. Only then carve the second smaller circle, the place where the heart is meant to rest. The space between the two rings is left untouched to keep the mind from being disturbed. Afterward, the maker engraves the ancient Hebrew letters, each stroke cut with steady breath and a mind that does not tremble. For these letters are not symbols alone, but echoes of the higher realms that human eyes cannot see. At the center are the small sigils that bind the pentacle to the breath of the planets and the movement of the unseen world. Yet, Solomon said the most important part is not the circles nor the marks, but the moment before the blade touches the metal, when the maker must ask, whom do they wish to protect? What do they hope to stand against? And whether any hidden desire lurks in their heart. For a pinnacle is only a mirror, and the image it reveals is always the truth a person tries hardest to hide within themselves. My first summoning night arrived in a silence so deep I could hear the blood moving inside my own body. I stood in the center of the room, lit only by a single oil flame that flickered as if hesitating on my behalf. My shadow stretched long across the floor, then split into two, as though another presence stood beside me, unseen by mortal eyes. I drew a slow breath and recited the invocation, my voice barely above a whisper, as if the room itself were leaning closer to listen. The moment the final word fell, the air in front of me tightened and loosened, like water being touched. Then, a thin darkness opened before me, as delicate as a veil. But behind it, I felt something shift. A cold draft escaped, not like the night wind, but like the breath of someone who had slept for centuries, now waking. The flame tilted sharply to one side, as if blown by an invisible force. I knew the spirit had arrived, even though I could not yet see it. I felt its gaze sweeping through my thoughts, searching whether I trembled from fear or pride. I offered the formal greeting, though my heart hammered like a battle drum. When that unseen doorway quivered, I understood that from this moment onward, my life would no longer resemble the life of a king. It would step into a realm where humans must confront what has never been given a name. If you are listening, remember that courage in the dark is not the absence of fear, but the choice to move forward while fear still breathes within you. Solomon said that the greatest misunderstanding people have is believing he used the pinnacles to force spirits to kneel. But the truth was entirely different. Because in the moment a spirit appeared, he did not raise the seal like a threat. Instead, he simply stood still and spoke to it with the voice of a man trying to keep his heart steady. He said that no matter how powerful a spirit is, it understands the language of sincerity. For they have existed far longer than humans and can see through ambition or fear better than anyone. That night, when he faced the first spirit, instead of commanding, he asked it, "What do you want? And what can I give in return for peace between us?" Something unexpected happened. The spirit did not roar nor attack, but quietly said that no one had ever asked it such a thing. The tension in the room dissolved like mist. Solomon realized then that true power does not lie in magic, but in the ability to negotiate with compassion, for no spirit truly wishes to be chained. Only abandoned souls struggle wildly in the dark. He concluded that the unseen world is much like the human one, with the good, the cruel, and those simply waiting for someone to listen. If you have followed me to this point, remember, sometimes a single kind question can open a door that force could never break. Solomon said that among all the years he faced spirits and learned secrets beyond human grasp, there was one moment in which he nearly lost himself, a moment when he realized that with a single command, he could make a spirit retreat, and with one pentacle, he could shield an entire land. That power stirred his heart not with fear, but with a fragile pride as thin as silk, a pride that could tear with just one breath. He remembered seeing his own reflection on the dark water that night, the reflection of a man who believed he could shape the fate of others. And it was then that the angel appeared in complete silence. No blazing light, no rushing wind, only a presence that melted every trace of arrogance within him. The angel said, "Solomon, do not let power make you forget that you too are a child of earth and water, not a ruler of the cosmos." He stood there stunned, like a child caught in a quiet wrongdoing, realizing that the true danger did not lie in spirits or magic, but in the human heart when it begins to believe it stands above destiny. The angel departed, and he knelt on the cold stone floor, relearning an old lesson, that the one who keeps the light is not the strongest, but the one who knows when to bow. If you are hearing this, remember that pride arrives lightly, but its cost has never been light. Solomon said that what people never understood was that the power he received was not merely the ability to see through darkness or command spirits to bow, but something far more frightening, the ability to hear the thoughts that had not yet become words, to see the fear hiding behind a person's eyes, and to sense the choices that would lead them toward ruin. It was this clarity into human nature that condemned him to a loneliness deeper than that of the sleepless spirits. He confessed that with just a hand resting on a pinnacle, he could feel the wind preparing to change direction, feel which illness was about to sweep through the city, know who was quietly plotting betrayal, and even sense which nights the heavens would open, allowing spirits to move freely. Though that power helped him build a great temple from stones no man could lift, and protected a kingdom on the brink of collapse, it also exhausted his heart, to the point where some nights he wished he were simply an ordinary man, unable to hear the whispers of both worlds. Solomon said the true price of knowledge is not in knowing too much, but in no longer being able to pretend you do not know. And if you are hearing this, remember that no matter how radiant a power may seem, it always carries a shadow that not everyone is brave enough to walk into. When the years had turned his hair white, and the hands that once commanded power now held only the gentle warmth of a father, Solomon understood that this was the moment to pass on to Rehoboam. Not the hidden formulas of magic, but the quiet lessons of being human. He looked at his son with a gaze softened by time and said, "My son, if one day power finds its way into your hands, Do not let it draw you away from compassion, because true strength is never measured by what you control, but by how you choose to protect the hearts beside you. The unseen world may shake you, but it is the small human things that shape who you become. Learn to pause. Learn to listen. Learn to accept your own mistakes and to rise again when you fall. Do not try to mirror my path. Live honestly with your own humanity. For no pentacle, however sacred, can save a soul that has already leaned toward the shadows. He placed a steady hand on his son's shoulder, as if giving him the last warmth he had left, and murmured, "I cannot leave you a flawless kingdom, but I leave you a reminder that as long as your heart stays upright, even when the night is thick, you will always find your way home. If weariness ever burdens you, remember that faith never turns away from the one who bows humbly before what is right." At the end of his journey, when every door of knowledge had opened, and both light and shadow had left their marks upon his heart, Solomon said that the final key he wished to pass on had nothing to do with spells or rituals, nor with the pentacles etched from precious metal, but with something so simple that people often forget it: kindness. For he realized that power holds meaning only when it helps someone rise after falling, or eases a little of the fear that clings to the long darkness of life. He said that when a person keeps kindness in their heart, even before uttering an apology or reaching out a hand, the doors of heaven and earth open on their own, without force, without proof. And all the powers he once possessed were nothing compared to the moment a heart chooses what is right, even when no one is watching. Solomon ended his story with a voice soft as breath, saying that the path back to the light has never begun with intellect, but always with a gentle and honest heart. And if you have come this far, remember, sometimes the key capable of changing an entire life lies quietly in the way we treat one another each day.